The best of the best, the Elite Eight. We have the East and West we'll be predicting in this video. If you want to see the Midwest and South, come back tomorrow. That video will be out then. But let's just hop right into this video breakdown here. First up, we are going to be predicting the Illinois and the UConn game, then the Clemson-Alabama game. Then I'm going to be predicting the Final Four and how that's going to go, and finally the national championship. All right, with that being said, let's just hop right into our first game, Illinois and UConn. All right, now we have our first game here, Illinois and UConn. If we click this button and take a look at the stats, we can see that UConn has the clear statistical advantage. However, don't be fooled because it is not by much. There is a 1.6% gap in the field goals. There's a 1.6% gap in the three-pointers. There is less than 1% gap in the free throws, and the rebounds, Illinois is the lead there, and they have the lead by a long shot in rebounds. So the stats are very, very close. They're very even. I know it looks like UConn's kind of destroying them, but they're very even stats. These are two evenly matched teams. Now, as far as my prediction goes, I am going to be taking UConn. Now, in my bracket originally, I ended up predicting this game. Not necessarily in my Sweet 16 video. I actually had some crazy calls in that video. Go check that video out. It's linked down in the description. My Sweet 16 predictions. As me recording this, not all the Sweet 16 games have happened, but I'm not going to spoil anything from that video. You're just going to have to check that out if you want to see those calls after this. But UConn, as the 1 seed, have been dominant. They destroyed SDSU. I think many people, including myself, thought that SDSU game was at least going to be close, and UConn crushed them. So the stats may not show it, but I think UConn is going to beat Illinois with some ease. I mean, Illinois, they struggled to beat Iowa State. They had a big lead and they blew it, and then they ended up at the end of the game coming back and holding on to the lead. But it was a very entertaining game to watch. But I mean, this game I think is going to be kind of similar. Just UConn's going to have the lead. They're not going to blow it as hard, and they're just going to be holding on. They're going to hold on to it at the end, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. But it's just for Illinois. If they beat Iowa State and didn't let them get back in the game, I might pick them here. But watching that game, they did not look like a team that was ready to play UConn. Moving on to our next game, we have Clemson and we have Alabama. So taking a look at the stats here, Alabama is ahead in about every stat, but again, it's not by much. Like free throws is literally by 0.1%. Three-pointers is by a little over 1%, and field goals is by 0.7%. And then the rebounds, they're winning by a little more. But, I mean, this is just two fairly evenly matched teams. And Clemson has a lot of fight. But the thing is, for me personally, you can tell by these stats, by their free throw percentage, by the amount of, not necessarily the percentage, but just the sheer amount of three-pointers they make in the game. Not only is this team a really good offense, but this team is clutch. They make clutch finishes. They had a clutch finish against UNC. They were down for almost the entirety of that game, and they had a clutch finish. And I think this is going to be no different. They're going to end up getting in a free throw shootout, I think, at the end, but Bama, I think, is going to have the lead, and if they don't, they're going to get it, because this, right now, in my opinion, is the most clutch team in college basketball, and Bama's going to be headed on to the Final Four. So with that being said, here is a look. I'm not going to tell you too much. On the left side is the East and the West. That has already happened, so that is what the actual bracket is. On the right side is the Midwest and the South. That's just how I think it's going to happen. So I'm going to now be predicting what I believe the Final Four is going to be in the national championship. So starting off with Bama and UConn, this is going to be a really good game, but Bama's really clutch. So they could definitely give UConn some trouble, but I just don't think Bama has the defense to outmatch UConn. Bama has been winning their games on offense mostly throughout this tournament, and I think UConn is not the team you want to go in trying to beat them on offense. You want to have a good defense if you're going. You need to have a really good defense if you're going to beat UConn. Tennessee and Houston. I said it. I'm going to say it is the game of the year. It's the game of the year, and it's going to be so good because you have a really good defense going up against a really good offense and defense, like two really well-rounded teams. And I just think Houston is a little bit better. It's very close. I do think Tennessee has the better defense, but Houston's offense is better, not only better than Tennessee's offense, but their defense is still comparable to Tennessee's. Their defensive capabilities are comparable to Tennessee, and their offense, I think, is much better than Tennessee's offense. And Tennessee's defense is going to be the reason why they're in this game, but at the same time, I think Houston is just a little more well-rounded of a team, and that's what you need in a scenario like this. So moving on now to my national championship. We have UConn and we have Houston. Who is going to take it? Now, here, this is going to be an incredible game to watch. But do you remember what I said about Bama? If you want to beat UConn, you need the really good defense. I think Houston has the defensive capability to beat UConn. Now, can they beat out UConn's defense? Because UConn's defense is still pretty good. But I do think Houston has the defensive capability to do it, which is why I'm going to actually pick Houston here to beat them. Now, you can't really see the difference there if I go back. Just watch this little tongue on the UConn Husky. You can see it fade to gray. The whole logo is black and white now, I promise. It's just, UConn was a pretty mono-scale logo to begin with. But either way, Houston, I do have them getting the win here, and it's going to be a close game. Honestly, I think this could be a national championship heading into overtime, which would just be fantastic. But with that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Now, before you leave, I would like to tell you I have another Elite 8 prediction video coming out tomorrow for the Midwest and the South, because as of right now, those Sweet 16 games haven't happened yet, so I don't know what the games are, so I can't really predict it. But that video is going to be coming out tomorrow. You should definitely be sure to check that out, and I will see you guys then.